I've been asked to talk to you a little bit about CDI, the Congregational Development Institute, and I've had the opportunity to be in a couple of different churches in our diocese. One was on St. Simon's, and it was before the CDI training was available to us, and the after one was at King of Peace, and it is available to us. One of the really neat things that I see in that is that it's able to take people that are already having to be thrust into a leadership position and may or may not have had leadership training in the past, but it consolidates that leadership training, and it also ties it into the saints of the church, such as Saint Benedict, and it ties it into the Christian liturgy and the Bible, so that you can actually see that there really is an organization to God's plan for us, and it kind of strengthens you as a leader through that. I've had the opportunity to be in a lot of different leadership positions in my life and in my career. I was a Boy Scout, went to National Leadership Youth Training in that. Later I was a professional scouter, and I went to the National Executive Institute. And then I was an administrator in a hospital, and I went to leadership training there, and then I went to CDI. And every single leadership training I went to hit on some of those same principles, but CDI kind of completed it. It actually showed me where the leadership of the church has actually downloaded into other types of leadership programs and leadership training for things like Boy Scouts, things like Covey. So I've really been able to strengthen what I already knew about leadership and dovetail that into what my role is in the church as in the past the senior warden or a junior warden, and now as one of the members of the vestry in King of Peace.
A lot of times when we talk about congregational growth, congregational development, we think about branching out, we think about putting rear ends in pews, we think about getting bigger and bigger, and that's great. I think Jesus wants that, but the other thing that I totally know that He wants is He wants us to have deeper roots. It's not just about branching out, it's about growing deeper as well, because if you don't have deep roots, you can't branch out. Part of the thing that we're doing with stuff like CDI is, yeah, we're learning how to branch out, but just as important, we're growing deep, deep roots, spiritual roots that are going to help sustain our congregation for a long, long time.
I have completed 2 years of CDI training, and I've been able to utilize those skills not only here at church, but also in my workplace. Our weekends at Honey Creek were filled with opportunities to meet and to make connections and to develop friendships with people across the diocese and to learn about things they're doing in their parishes as well as to share things that we're doing in ours. One of the things that surprised me at CDI was learning about conflict and how good conflict can be. It can be a positive thing. Conflict allows people to share their voice, to voice their opinions, which can be very important when you're putting changes in place or starting another activity. And folks that voice that opposition oftentimes find areas of weakness in our plan that can help us to strengthen it and be successful. I am not in clergy full-time. I also teach, and I found myself in a conflict situation that I was able to apply those skills that I had learned at CDI and help to not only deal better with the situation, but to be able to manage it. And so that we were able to come to a resolution. So it was really a positive experience, and it showed me that the tools that we are taught at CDI can be very helpful in all situations.
One of the really wonderful things that I've seen out of CDI, having sent a lot of our folks from St. Anne's and Tifton to CDI, is they come back with this knack for being able to see the big picture. I think a lot of times, like on a lot of vestries, we're really worried about what's the fire we got to put out now, what's the little mini crisis that we have to deal with this month. But when you can get enough folks with a common vocabulary and common tools in their tool belt for focusing on the big picture, which is never about the little fires, it's always about big things like evangelism and the gospel and sharing our robust faith as Episcopalians with anybody who will hear about it and come and experience it. When you can focus on that big stuff, all the little stuff starts to take care of itself.
If you haven't sent people to CDI yet, you're not doing your church a service. You need to get your leaders of your church to CDI so that they're not just winging it when it comes to leadership roles. They need this toolbox to be organized for them so they can actually go about God's work in an organized way and complete and finish the things that they're trying to do.